Man, man. It has been quite some time, let me tell you, since we talk college football. It's been a long time since Ohio State hoisted up that national championship trophy, but they hoisted it up, they got it. Now Ireland yet again takes center stage as Iowa State and Kansas State kick things off the 2025 season of college football. Another year where there's been so much controversy in the offseason leading into the season itself. There, there are 136 teams in FBS now. Hi, Delaware. Hi, Missouri State. Hi, welcome to the chaos. We still have a 12-team playoff system for now, but the Big Ten, it's trying to get 24 and 28. It's like 24 is too much, 28 is too much. That's just too much. I get it. I get where the sentiment is coming from, but at the same time, some of these changes are just a bit outrageous to me. Like 7 auto bids for like the power conferences and everything like that. Yeah, it's kind of rough. The FCS landscape has also changed a little bit. The Montanas and the Dakotas are still at the top. But hey, you know, at least Sacramento State isn't moving up anytime soon. But I mean, at the same time, it is what it is with Sacramento State. That's on them for not doing what they needed to do, which is trying to get into a conference, that, had what they needed, which is a full home for their football squad. That's a mid football squad, though. But hey, Texas State is in the Pac-12. Well, it's the Pac-8, 9, something like that. Whatever we call the Pac something. But still this year it's the Pac-2, so still Oregon State and Washington State this year. And then the other teams, the defectors from the Mountain West, will join up next year. And then, Louisiana Tech's back in the Sun Belt. They'll be back, probably next season. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's the year of Arch. The year of Arch Manning, baby. The horns are ready to go, baby. Ranked number 1 in all the land. Why we're ranked number 1 in all the land with Arch Manning, I have no idea. I have no idea what Penn State is number 2 either, but But James Franklin, Drew Aller, oh my gosh. And it's like, if Penn State can get past what they could get past, then, they got it. But Ohio State, we have a top 3 matchup. We have a top 3 matchup with a guy named Julian Sayin as quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Still vaunted Ohio State team, too. Let's not get it twisted. When Jeremiah Smith is still here, some things are getting crazy. Carnell Tate, should be, doing a lot more this year. Last year, he was the slot guy basically, but now he should be doing a lot more. We'll find out if that translates anything, but Michigan got sanctioned the heckin' back. At least that's what should have happened, but a little bit of a slap on the wrist for Sherrone Moore and crew. Moore gets a 3-game suspension. Jim Harbaugh's not coming back to college. He got his national title. You can vacate it all you want to, NCAA, but it happened. The national championship happened. So, it is what it is. And again, this Ohio State team is still loaded, just because they're Ohio State, just because they don't have, some of the guys, that they had last year anymore. It's like, it's still Ohio State at the end of the day. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? It's still Ohio State. There are some teams where I'm just like, why are you where you are at? Why are you where you are at? Now, Clemson, Dabo, and crew, that's fine. That's fine. They can be 4. Georgia, they're absolutely fine where they are. Still a very good squad in Georgia. Notre Dame, a lot of people are, rating the Irish very highly this year. Oregon's still a team that, can do some damage. Bama, of course, it's Alabama. Can't count them out. Yeah, they had a season last year where they didn't get into the playoff, but, that was on Bama. And Brian Kelly and those LSU Tigers getting done. But Miami, fraud. Illinois, I have no idea why they're 12. I really don't. Lenora Sellers in South Carolina, that might be a playoff team. Michigan, Florida, oh God. That's all I can say about Florida. Oh, Jesus Christ. SMU, a lot of momentum. I don't know why OU and A&M are here, to be quite honest with you. Indiana, Mississippi, those Rebels of Ole Miss, they lost Jackson Dart. They still have some guys, but it is what it is. But the matchup, in Ireland this weekend is going to feature Kansas State with Avery Johnson and Iowa State. Texas Tech has loaded up on the transfer portal, and then Tennessee and Boise State with no Ashton Jeanty, but yet Boise State still has that quarterback, still has that quarterback from last year that they have. And, Boise's definitely the favorites to be the G5 rep, in the playoffs this year. So, man. Sam Levitt, Arizona State, a lot of people are saying, hey, this is the team to beat, there's no Big 12's preseason poll, by the way. So, Arizona State got a lot of good things from the portal, they got Kanye Udo from Army, big time back from last year. Jordan Tyson, is on the outside. He should be able to do something good, And again, there is a whole lot of craziness in the Big 12 with the 16 teams we got. Arizona. There's. Can we put that team back in the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see. This is gonna be beautiful. We get Farmageddon to start the year, and then we continue all the way until. Army, Navy, and then the college football playoffs themselves, on December 19th and 20th, and then the semifinals and quarterfinals and all that, it's going to be a beautiful season, Do I think the CFP should expand at all? No. In fact, I think they should go to 8, instead of 12. I've always said that it should have been 8 instead of 12. Do I think Ohio State, is going to, beat this, team that just underperforms? Not necessarily, not necessarily. But, do I think that Texas with Arch Manning can win the SEC? Absolutely. But do I think that team is going undefeated? Probably not. I get it. With the way things are now, where, you could be like Kurt Signetti and just schedule 3 nobodies per non-conference, get 3 easy wins. All you have to do is win 3 games, to get a bowl bid. 3 conference games to get a bowl bid. Or in the case of the SEC, still, 4 easy games, and then boom, SEC slate. All you got to win is 2 of them. But the point, is that, hey, the playoff, is the main goal for basically every team now. It is attainable for every team now. There has been so much in the transfer portal that it's not even funny. It's just not even funny. Like, again, Texas Tech loaded up on the transfer portal. Like, speaking of things that were, loaded in the sense that, probably shouldn't have been doing what they were supposed to be doing, but Jake Retzlaff is gone to Tulane. He went to Tulane. BYU is probably going to stink it up this year, to be quite honest with you. I have no idea why Deion's still at Colorado, by the way. Why is Deion still at Colorado? I don't know, man. I don't know. What else can we say? What about the rest of the ACC, huh? What about the rest of the ACC? I don't know, man. What it's all Clemson until further notice, you know? It's all Clemson. It's all Clemson. I mean, until Kate Klubnik, goes down with like something crazy or something like that. I mean, again, Clemson got a lot of guys back, and I don't know. And then Miami just has Carson back for some reason because they're Miami. They can do that, but at the same time, I think Miami's completely overrated. Like, why are we talking about this? SMU still has Kevin Jennings, but I don't know, man. There's other teams like Louisville with Miller Moss. It's Miller time, even though he didn't really do too well at USC last year, and then Haynes King back at Georgia Tech. I don't know, man. There's a lot of flux in the ACC. There's a lot of flux, but I'm gonna give you a few predictions here. Because I think you need to know that there's at least something. There's at least something to give. Like, can we like? Can we like get to the playoff already? The other big thing this year for me is that again, like it's been a weird summer for me personally, and you probably can tell. There have been at least there's been a couple of weeks where it's like, do I even upload something? And it's like a long form video. A long form. Do I even upload something? And the answer at the end of the day is yes, I try to. But this year, things are a little bit different. Most, if not all, Saturdays during the fall, aside from this week, next week, I'll be out working. I'll be working out mostly outside for like the first few weeks of the fall. I'll be working and I'll probably have like a live stream or something like that that'll tell some things, and I'm probably going to do that very, very shortly, which is probably tomorrow, because I do want to get some things out here. But most Saturdays I won't even be here in my little man cave, split screen the laptop, trying to get the TV to function. But most weeks I'm not even gonna be here. I'm not even gonna be at home watching college football. I will be watching highlights though, so so you can say that I'm not this crazy casual or anything like that, because I don't want to be a casual when it comes to college football. There was a lot of instances last year where I would fall asleep during a game, or then wake up like 2 hours later and the game is basically over. And that's happened a lot of Saturdays last year, and this year I'm working on Saturdays, to continue to get that money. Let me go back to the loaded analogy, because Gunnar Stockton's back at Georgia, and then Alabama's Alabama, like I said, everything else is like, what, I don't know what people are thinking on A&M. They gotta beat Notre Dame somehow. Ole Miss don't really think they're gonna do anything this year. LSU, again, I'm not even sure at this point. Like what are we talking about here with LSU? What are we talking about? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But watch me be completely wrong. It's again, like, we have multiple top 10 matchups. Well, yeah, we have multiple top 10 matchups also as well. And it's like, it's going to be a crazy season. Like, can James Franklin finally win a big game? I don't know, bro. I really don't. Like, what are we talking? Like, what are we even saying here? Like Indiana, Illinois. I'm just like, why? But why though? It's gonna be weird. To see things the way that they are this year. It's like I don't know. I don't know, man. The Ducks looking real good with the defense they got back, and it's like some of these other teams in the Big Ten are like, why? Like Nebraska, why, bro? Why are we even hyping that team up? I don't get it. So there are some things that I would love to just be like I'm completely sure on this, and then there are some things that I'm like, what do I even say about this? So what I'm gonna do here real quick, is just kind of give you some things as I continue to ramble, as far as you know as far as things are concerned, because this year could be a crapshoot. It could be a crapshoot where you never know who's going to come out on top. Do we get another 2007? Do we get a season like last year, kind of, in a way? Or the year before that? Do we get a season that it just defies all logic and expectations? It's college football. Every week defies all logic and expectations. I mean, you see how much stuff went on in the offseason, and I didn't even go over everything. I didn't even remember everything. There was so much that happened. And even in the last 2 weeks, there was so much that happened. So yeah, as you can see at the bottom of the ticker here, well, not the bottom, but you know what I mean. The banner I have up on the screen right now. I think we're gonna get a playoff looking like this. We're gonna get Penn State because we need Ohio State, we need Oregon from the Big Ten, Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, and Bama from the SEC. Clemson will be the lone ACC representative. For me, right now, I just can't get behind some of these guys. I don't know if SMU has the capacity to return to the CFP. Yes, Kevin Jennings is a godsend, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Boise State, I forgot his name, bro. I forgot his name. I forgot the QB's name for Boise State. I think it's like Mado or Madden or something like that, or something like that. I don't remember. Why do I not remember his name? Maybe it's because Genty, all that hype around Ashton Genty last year, it took all the luster. Notre Dame, of course, think they will just have, plenty to reap and sow from this year, and the schedule is very, very favorable for them to where they can, easily take care of business and get to the CFP. Again, top 4 teams will be ranked 1 through 4 and get those first round buys now. Instead of the top 4 conference champions, it will be top 4 teams, regardless of conference. So we could have 4 ACC teams that are, ranked 1 through 4, or 4 Big 10, 4 Big 12, 4 ACC. Who knows? The Big 12, definitely the favorite, Arizona State, even though people don't say they're the favorite, and then Texas Tech, because of all these transfers. I think they have the firepower to do some damage this year. But we will see about all that. We will see because, again, season starts with, 9 games this weekend, mostly some FBS. There's some FCS games as well. I don't really have any FCS predictions at all. I'm just going to wait it out on those for the time being. And stick with me on Tuesday nights throughout the season. And videos will should be up by this time now instead of, waiting around. But, it is what it is with that. Today was kind of wonky getting back, but I made it back home and got this together. Again, my thoughts are going to be all over the place because there's a lot of college football to consume. So, And you see, I didn't even get through everything. Like Nico being a diva and going to UCLA like that. Like Nico Amalivia, yeah, he definitely left Tennessee all right, and I definitely don't think Tennessee's doing anything this year. So sorry, sorry, Vols fans. UCLA's not doing anything either. Yeah, Joey Aguilar is a thing, but like it's Joey Aguilar. He's inconsistent, and you see what I mean. My thoughts are all over the place. Again, there's games throughout, this week. You got Stanford, Hawaii as well, Fresno State, Kansas, the couple big ones in the FCS, UC Davis, Mercer, Southern, and NC Central. Gonna be some big stuff. Tarleton trying to prove that they're FBS ready. That one's also happening. UNLV had to move a game too. So yeah, week 0 is here. There's like about 9-10 games, and should be fun as always. The FCS is looking to move to week 0 permanently with the whole 12 games. With the whole 12 games permanent type thing. I think they'll be able to succeed in that too. And again, hopefully my thoughts aren't this incoherent, next week, because we got a long season to go, and I'm excited to watch the chaos unfold just like you are. So from me to you, I'm out, and I'll see you tomorrow or maybe sometime next week. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.